Hello, everyone. Welcome back once again. I am Nicodemus Kane. Today is December the 8th of 2022. You'll have to forgive me if I am all stopped up and if I am coughing really bad. My allergies are definitely getting to me. Sifting through the boxes, sifting through all of the past memories of my mom's life is definitely it's catching up to me. Just the massive amount of dust and hair, like cat hair. I am allergic to cats, but I think it's definitely it's taking its toll. Wearing me down. Just the whole experience has been wearing me down. So again, you'll have to forgive me. I've already had like a really bad allergy attack this morning, and it's affecting my throat. But we will soldier on. I will ask the Father for healing and for the ability to move forward. And we will speak His word today. Hopefully that it will fall on the ears that can hear it, for those that definitely need to hear it. But today is Jeremiah 9. I didn't want to focus too much on anything as far as current events. The only really big things that I've seen on like Twitter and stuff like that are just people talking stuff that we probably shouldn't worry about going into and focusing on. So I'm not going to worry about it. It's like I said, I'd rather just jump right into this. I don't know how much longer my throat's going to be able to survive this anyways. So give me a couple seconds. Let me see if I can clear my nose out, clear my throat out, and then we will start. Okay. Hopefully that did it. I do feel a little better after that. It's been rough. It's been a rough morning. It's already been a rough morning, and it's like I said. Every time we turn around, it's like it's something else, something new. But we have to keep digging through her stuff, because sooner or later, I keep thinking I'm going to find a will. I'm going to find something that will tell the world that everything she has is mine, and that I don't have to hire a lawyer in order to tell them that it's mine, and that we can just move forward from there. But the more I dig, the less I believe it's a real thing, and the more of a headache this is becoming. But enough about that. Let's read Jeremiah 9 and see which holiday this one picks on. See what truth we can find out of it. Oh, that my head were waters, and mine eyes a fountain of tears, that I might weep day and night for the slain of the daughter of my people. Oh, that I had in the wilderness a lodging place of wayfaring men, that I might leave my people and go from them. For they be all adulterers, an assembly of treacherous men. and they bend their tongues like their bow for lies. But they are not valiant for the truth upon the earth. For they proceed from evil to evil, and they know not me, saith the Lord. Take ye heed every one of his neighbor, and trust ye not in any brother. For every brother will utterly supplant, and every neighbor will walk with slanders. And they will deceive every one his neighbor, and will not speak the truth. They have taught their tongue to speak lies, and weary themselves to commit iniquity. Thine habitation is in the midst of deceit. Through deceit they refuse to know me, saith the Lord. Therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts, Behold, I will melt them, and try them. For how shall I do for the daughter of my people? Their tongue is as an arrow shot out. It speaketh deceit. One speaketh peaceably to his neighbor with his mouth, but in heart he layeth his weight. My nose is starting to clog up again. I'm telling you, it's terrible going through all this stuff. So I don't know if I might have said it before, but she has a house in Florida. And we went down last year it was last year. We went down last year in July after my stepfather passed away. Died suddenly. Let's just put it that way. And but we went down there to empty out her house, and it was rush, rush, hurry, hurry, throw stuff in boxes and go kind of thing, you know. And those are the boxes I'm going through, because I'm hoping that there's some kind of paperwork somewhere. But it's like I said, the more I dig, the less I find. But we keep kicking up dust and cat hair everywhere, and I feel like I'm a teenager again. I feel like I'm a teenager again, living in a house. Mom knew I had allergies. I was allergic to cats. So what do? We have 4 cats. Why not? Right? That's how you do it. You have allergies, you get cats. And I don't know why I was like that. I constantly ask that question. Why? Why would you do that to somebody? And I'm learning more and more that it was never about me. She loved the hell out of me, but holy smokes, it was never about me. It was always about her. It's all about what she wanted. Anyways, I'm not going to sit here and do that. Back up to the top. Oh, that my head were waters, and mine eyes a fountain of tears, that I might weep day and night for the slain of the daughter of my people. Because you can cry, and you can cry, and then just eventually there are no more tears. I've had that feeling before. Oh, that I had in the wilderness a lodging place of wayfaring men, that I might leave my people and go from them. For they be all adulterers, an assembly of treacherous men. And they bend their tongues like their bow for lies. But they are not valiant for the truth upon the earth. For they proceed from evil to evil, and they know not me, saith the Lord. They are not valiant for the truth upon the earth. I just want to make sure that is what that is. Valiant. Where are we at? What was that? Strength to prevail, strengthen, to confirm, to act proudly, to show oneself mighty. There it is. They are not valiant for the truth upon the earth. It is the glory of God to hide a thing. It is the honor of kings to search a thing out. They are not valiant for the truth upon the earth. They choose wickedness. They do not choose the truth at all. We've seen that several other times where it is said they have chosen to be deceitful. They have chosen to believe the lie. They have chosen to, what was the one? They revel in iniquity. They revel in going against God's word. Just the truth, period. They revel in it. They bend their tongues like their bow for lies. They will go out of their way to manipulate their life just so that they can follow the ways of the world, just so that they don't have to follow the truth. They proceed from evil to evil. That's a snowball. From one evil to the next. And every evil gets worse and worse and worse as it goes. It's like a drug habit. It's like they talk about you only really choose to take one dose of heroin. The rest of it you have to, it's like it's a slow build. And you just want more, and you want more, and you want a bigger kick, and you want bigger pleasures, and you want bigger things, and you will lie, and you will cheat, and you will manipulate people in order to get the next thing, in order to get to the next wickedness, to the next evil. And it's a snowball effect. I've talked about this many times, that you don't just get to give somebody a little bit of evil and then, hope that will satiate them. They'll want more, and they'll want more, and they'll want more. And then the next thing you know, your whole life is taken over by evil, by wickedness. And then you have, naked guys parading around the streets. You will have death and violence in the streets. You will have the most wicked and evil kind of sexual perversions. And it will keep building. It'll keep going. Then they'll start talking about, eating the flesh of men like it's a good thing. Drinking blood like it's a good thing. We're already at that point. It gets worse from here. I don't know how much worse it can get, but I have, again, my images in my head where I thought, what would the world really look like if evil took over? And it's pretty messed up, man. It's pretty messed up. They proceed from evil to evil because they know not me, saith the Lord. And again, they revel in the fact. They are happy in the fact that they would rather believe the lie. They go out of their way, bend their tongues to do it, so that they can live in the perversion of this world than even try to hear any truth of God's word. Verse 4, take ye heed every one of his neighbor, and trust ye not in any brother. Hold on a second. Take ye heed of every one his neighbor, and trust ye not in any brother. Do not trust in a brother or a neighbor, for every brother will utterly supplant, and every neighbor will walk with slanders. Now this almost contradicts everything that you've been told from the New Testament. I'm not talking about what the New Testament says. I'm talking about what you've been told about the New Testament. You get preachers and pastors all the time that will go on and on about, you have to come together, trust your brothers, love your brothers, do this, do that. They are there for you. They will help you through this. No, this right here says, take heed, trust ye not in any brother. Do not trust in anyone, for they will supplant, they will walk with slanders. Judge righteously. And I had it in my head just a second ago, now it's gone. Judge righteously, use discernment, prove all things, judge them by their fruits. Do not just fall in with them because they say they are a brother, they say they are a neighbor, they say they are a family member, they say they are of God. Judge them righteously. Only find them that have that spirit, that have the truth. You will find them. This is one of the biggest things about the Psalms that I've was really going with, because we were going through the elections, was in trusting man. Because a lot of people were going out of their ways to say, oh, look at this, these people are doing so good. Oh, these people are doing this, these people are doing that. Look how much good they're trying to do. And I kept saying, but your Bible says men that are in high places, men that are in positions of power, those people that are supposed to be looking after your well-being, are up there laying traps, laying snares, trying to entrap you in darkness and evil. There is nothing in the Bible that says to absolutely give over all your power to a man and to trust that he will do something good with it. The Bible says the exact opposite. Do not trust. Take heed. Use discernment. Watch out for these people. This is one of those examples. Now, I'm not saying that you don't trust anybody, even though at this point I don't trust a lot of people. I've had several people come around that just didn't seem right. They want to start talking about, getting together and doing stuff and talking about things and all this, and just on the surface, I'm like, okay, cool, that's great. But when you really use your discernment, pray on it, and try to figure it out, you're like, wait, no, that's not right. These people aren't. This guy isn't. He's not a thing. I'm not going to say that I'm like being stalked by CIA or anything, but it's when you look in the background of somebody and you start finding out that they're just not, there's something just not kosher. You're like, oh no, I'm going to back up a second. So I didn't follow it, but I've had several people like that again, they've come around and they've been like that. Some of those I've found on Twitter that have actually tried talking to me and come around, and I'm like, it's cool. Somebody wants to come around and talk and stuff, but then you really look at it and you're like, oh, wait, it's just an empty profile. That's somebody trying to come get you. They're trying to either get information from you or learn something about you just so that they can use it against you. You have to be careful. Don't trust me. Don't trust me to use your discernment with me. I've said that so many times now. Don't even trust me, because I am just a guy just sitting here trying to figure it out myself. Go read it yourself. Go do it yourself. Go find it out for yourself. If you're listening and if you're hanging out, hey, that's cool. That's great. That's awesome. You want to talk and chat and stuff, that's cool too. But don't take my word for anything, because I'm just a nobody. I'm just trying to figure this out. And I definitely don't want to lead anybody astray. And I'm sure I probably have. And for that, I'm sorry. If I've said or done anything that, is wrong, then I will accept any criticism, I guess, if that's the word for it, or accept any understanding of it if I can go find it, for myself. If somebody says, hey, you got this wrong, you got to go read this, go read that, and if I go find it, and if I can put it together with stuff that I've seen, then yeah, sure, I'll believe it. I'm trying. But don't trust me. Don't trust anyone. Use discernment. Judge them by their fruits. You'll see it. You'll see it. You'll find it. Especially pray to the Father. Father will tell you above all things. Every neighbor will walk with slanders, and they will deceive everyone his neighbor, and will not speak the truth. They have taught their tongue to speak lies. That's a phrase. They have taught their tongue to speak lies, and weary themselves to commit iniquity. Just like the city of Sodom, whenever the angels came to Lot's house, they will weary themselves to commit iniquity. That's a good line too. Thine habitation is in the midst of deceit. Through deceit they refuse to know me, saith the Lord. Thine habitation is in the midst of deceit. There's another way of saying that? You are drowning in lies. You are drowning in lies. Thy habitation is in the midst of deceit. You are drowning in lies. Somebody, what was it? I think I said it before that I went out to a little flat Earth meetup in Indianapolis, and somebody had said something along the lines of, we are swimming in a sea of lies, just trying to keep our head up. And I said, no. You're not swimming in a sea of lies. You're drowning in a sea of lies. Your head's already underwater. You're not even fighting for air anymore. You're sinking to the bottom. And that's where we are right now. We're not swimming. We're drowning. It's overwhelming us. How many lies there are. Thine habitation is in the midst of deceits. Give me 1 second. It gets to these points where, I blow my nose. And I have to ask the question, how much snot can the human body actually produce? I know some people don't like talking about that kind of stuff. I don't know why, but it's just a question. How much can you actually produce? Where does this stuff go? Like whenever you get sick and your sinuses are like raging, and there's just this massive pressure on the top of and you're just like, how much more can you put in there? What's going on in there? What is there like a cavity in the front of your head? It's just like all this. It makes you think. I know I'm one of those guys. I think of the crazy stuff. It is what it is. Verse 7, therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, I will melt them and try them. For how shall I do for the daughter of my people? Their tongue is as an arrow shot out. It speaketh deceit. One speaketh peaceably to his neighbor with his mouth, but in heart he layeth his weight. I kind of read over that before I started recording, and I said, I've heard that. We heard that almost word for word in the Psalms, and I looked at the reference that they have. They have Psalm 12:2 and they have Psalm 55:21, and I know it was something that stuck in my head, so I already have it pulled out here. Psalm 12:2. Which is, they speak vanity everyone with his neighbor, with flattering lips and a double heart do they speak. Which is the same thing. Is that even your neighbors those people that you think are doing good for you are going out of their way to deceive you, that, what was it again? One speaketh peacefully to his neighbor with his mouth, but in heart he layeth wait. In his heart. Oh, God knows my heart. God knows my heart. He knows that I am okay with doing the things that I do. How many times have you heard that? God knows my heart. Anybody that doesn't celebrate the holidays and you've ever told them, well, God doesn't want you to do this. Well, God knows my heart. God knows that I'm okay with this, that he knows that I'm really worshiping him. I've heard that several times now, as a matter of fact. God knows my heart. He knows that I'm not doing anything pagan or against his word. No, you're doing everything against his word, actually. And he knows your heart. He knows that the heart of men is where all evil comes from. Oh, he knows your heart, all right. He knows that you're not going to listen to him no matter what you do, and you're going to suffer for it. And I'm just here trying to say, hey, maybe you're not doing it right. I don't know. You can do whatever you want to. I'm thinking about tomorrow. Thinking about tomorrow with the chapter 10, because it's coming. And the only thing I can think about is like having to put a disclaimer at the beginning of the video. Is you can do whatever you want to. You don't have to listen to me. You can worship however you want to, do whatever you want to, whatever. I'm not gonna tell you what to do, because it's going to be on you. You're going to have to follow it, or you're not going to follow it, whatever. But I'm going to say, I'm just going to read what the Bible says. I'm going to read the truth to you, and if you don't like it, then maybe it's not for you. I used to say that a lot. Maybe the truth is just not for you. People used to get mad. What does that mean? What does that mean the truth isn't for me? So, well, it means you're not hearing the truth. It means you don't want to hear the truth. It means that you are so caught up in this world, you're going out of your way not to hear it. It's called willful ignorance. And you are reveling in your willful ignorance. You can't say that. You can't do that. You can't judge a brother like that. Well, my Bible also says that I don't have to trust any brother, because they are lying in wait with willful deceit. How do I know that by me telling you, you might be doing it wrong, and you telling me that I'm doing it wrong? How do I know you're even telling the truth? Maybe you're trying to trick me. I don't know, because according to your fruits, you're not following what the Bible says. Are we going to do it the way that God tells us to do it or not? What are we going to do here? Are we just going to follow it the way that man has told us to follow it, which is what preachers and pastors and everybody have been talking about for years and years and years, which, interestingly enough, doesn't seem to be working. It seems like for the past 100 years, since, new modern Christianity has come around, it seems like that hasn't worked. It's all fallen apart, because modern Christianity tells men to sit on their hands and do nothing. Real Christianity, people that follow the Bible, the Word, tells you that you're supposed to speak out about this. You're supposed to do something about this. You're not just supposed to sit on your hands. So you tell me, is your modern Christianity working or not? You may feel good about yourself. Oh, you may feel wonderful about yourself. You may have this joy feeling in your heart, way down in the cockles of your heart. It makes you feel good, makes you want to sing, it makes you want to dance, makes you do all the other things. But is it helping anyone? When you get all snazzed up and dressed up and go sit in the best seats in the churches and give your tithes and do all this other stuff to these people, and they tell you that you're going to get good things and better things because you do all this stuff, is it really doing anything to benefit anyone else other than you? And if it's only benefiting you, then it's vanity. We have to read this the right way and know what God wants us to do. I'm not here to speak soft words. I'm here to speak the truth with a righteous tongue and a sword of the Spirit, which is sharpened on both ends, and it cuts both ways. And if you don't like it, you can go away. But prove it first. Prove me first. Prove it. Show me where I'm wrong. I'm just trying to figure this out. Because the more I read this, the more I see, the less I believe. How's that? It's just where we are. My neighbor says to just follow the ways. Follow along the ways of the world. Just do it. It'll be fine. Why can't you just... What was the line? Oh, God. It's a little close to home, but one of the things my mother told me last year was, why can't you just participate in the rituals of Christmas? Just the things that we do. Why can't you just put up the tree? Why can't you just do that? You don't have to worship the God that's in it. Just do the rituals. That's a lying and deceiving tongue. Yes, she was making a turn, but she still had her problems. That's my neighbor that I can't trust. That's my family that I can't trust. You get that? I'm still not trying to speak ill about my mom, even though I have a lot. And I'm doing my best. But you can take that and put it in context with anybody else you talk about. You don't have to be, worshiping some other god. You don't know. Yes, I do know. We do it all the time. Almost everything we do. Your whole calendar is based around other gods. Everything you do, every day. I've even said it before. Even possibly, even the ritual of breakfast. It breaks a fast. You eat pork as the main meat of breakfast. Maybe it has something to do with something. I don't know. They call it the most important meal of the day. Yeah, because that's probably the only time per day that you actually eat any kind of pork. Enjoy that sausage biscuit. Enjoy that bacon. Bacon has become such a big... it's amazing the foods that they push on you. They say that the number one food that everybody loves in the world is some kind of pig. Ribs. Oh, can't wait for the McRib to come back. Gotta eat them pork eyes, them pork ears. Where was it again? Thine habitation is in the midst of deceit. You're drowning in lies. And the first thing that they would do is they would try to convince you that your faith is just simply based upon what your heart tells you to do. They would go out of their way to tell you that everything that Christ did was to wipe away everything before the New Testament. That's what they would tell you. They would go out of their way to say that Christ took everything that God put down and that he put something new in its place, so that you can go out and do all of the things you ever wanted to do, and it would be okay because he knows your heart. That's what evil would say. That is, where's that? For every brother will utterly supplant, and every neighbor will walk with slanders, and they will deceive everyone his neighbor, and will not speak the truth. They have taught their tongue to speak lies, and weary themselves to commit iniquity. I could go on and on about that. There's weary themselves to commit iniquity. One of the things that I don't have anymore in December is stress. I have stress now because I have to deal with, the trying to fix the arrangements of my mother's death, but I don't have stress in December anymore. I don't have stress in February anymore. I don't have stress in April or October. For that matter, July. I don't have stress because I don't have to plan a holiday. We don't have to plan a holiday. We don't have to worry about gathering money, doing all the, I don't have to worry about going to 5 different relatives' houses so that we can have a dinner. I don't even have to worry about that anymore. I only had to worry about one dinner, and I don't have to worry about that anymore. I don't have to worry about it. It's stress. You weary yourself to commit iniquity. It's what they do. Think about it. Just think about it. Think about the things that we do. I'm going to keep going on about it because closer we get to Christmas, the more Jeremiah is going to heat up. I've already said this. It keeps going and going and going and going and going. The entirety of the middle books calls out the crap that the people of this world do. Let's keep going though. Hold on a second. Let me do this again because goodness knows that my nose just will not stop. Alright. Oh yeah, verse 9. It is too, my nose. Oh, jeez. Alright. I think we have some Mucinex or something in the house. I'm gonna take some, I don't know, something to break it up. Verse 9. Shall I not visit them for these things, saith the Lord? Shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? For the mountains will I take up a weeping and wailing, and for the habitations of the wilderness a lamentation, because they are burned up, so that none can pass through them, neither can men hear the voice of the cattle. Both the fowl of the heavens, let's try that again. Both the fowl of the heavens and the beast are fled, they are gone. And I will make Jerusalem heaps and a den of dragons, and I will make the cities of Judah desolate, without an inhabitant. Back up to 9. Shall I not visit them for these things, saith the Lord? Shall not my soul be avenged on a nation such as this? On such a nation as this. On a nation says, I don't know why I mixed those words up. But shall he not visit them? He said it. He said, if you follow my ways, I'll protect you. If you don't follow my ways, then you get punishment. It's like a father with his children. Father says, don't do this. Child does that. Guess what the father does? I just saw a meme from a friend this morning. He talked about you've never heard a belt, or a lot of the kids now have never heard a father's belt slip out of 6 belt loops at 0.13 whatever it was seconds, and it shows, something like that. That's what it is. Father says don't do that. If you do it, you get punished. That's exactly what this is. Shall I not do it? I told them not to do it, but they're out here doing it. Shall I not visit these things upon them? Shall I not bring this down on their heads? Am I just going to let it go? Spare not the rod. Spare the rod, spoil the child. For the mountains will I take up a weeping and wailing, and for the habitations of the wilderness a lamentation, because they are burned up, so that none can pass through them. Neither can men hear them. Oh, wait, no. Neither can men hear the voice. Sorry. I was rubbing my eye. When I was blowing my nose, I actually stabbed myself in the eye with the tissue. That was awesome. That was great. I'm so glad that happened. Where are we at? So that none can pass through them. Neither can men hear the voice of the cattle. Both the fowl of the heavens and the beast are fled. They are gone. And I will make Jerusalem heaps and a den of dragons. And I will make the cities of Judah desolate, without an inhabitant. I've heard that before. The den of dragons thing. These places that God makes desolate and makes them a den of dragons. And I can never remember his name. I've done this like 3 times now where I've said there's this guy on YouTube that goes out and he talks to these people that, have gone to these places in the desert. They've gone to all these places where, people don't really go to very much. And I can never remember his name. But they talk about these things. They talk about giants and weird creatures, things that fly around in these places that, where they've found, hidden caves, hidden treasures, hidden things. And they talk about this kind of stuff where, there's something out there. And it always brings it to my mind, and I think the guy even says it too, is it talks about these places where all these monsters are, these habitations of creatures, these dens of dragons. There was one guy that said that he saw these things flying around in the sky that he didn't know if they were bats or if they were some kind of, weird creature, or if they were dragons themselves. He couldn't tell. And, he was talking about they could very well be a den of dragons. And I was like, wow. It's desolate places out in the deserts. Just makes you think. Just stuff that makes you think. I'm not saying it's true or not. I don't know if these guys are telling the truth, but when they talk about that, I'm like, it's interesting. It's interesting just to put it together. Verse 12. Who is the wise man that he may understand this? And who is he to whom the mouth of the Lord hath spoken, that he may declare it? For what the land perisheth, it is burned up like a wilderness, that none passeth through. And the Lord saith, because they have forsaken my law, which I set before them, and have not obeyed my voice, neither walked therein, but have walked after the imagination of their own heart, and after Baalim, which their fathers taught them. Therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, behold, I will feed them, even this people, with wormwood, and give them water of gall to drink. I will scatter them also among the heathen, whom neither they nor their fathers have known, and I will send a sword after them, till I have consumed them. Alright. There's a lot in there. I heard a lot of it. If you've been following me at all, if anyone actually follows me, there were some things there that you will automatically know I'm going to go straight towards. Back up to verse 12. Who is the wise man that may understand this? And who is he to whom the mouth of the Lord hath spoken, that he may declare it? For what the land perisheth and is burned up like a wilderness, that none passeth through. Who is the wise man that may understand this, and who is he to whom the mouth of the Lord has spoken? Who is there to declare this, pretty much? And the Lord saith, because they have forsaken my law, which I have set before them, and have not obeyed my voice, neither walked therein, but have walked after the imagination of their own hearts, because he knows your heart. It is what comes out of a man's heart is what ruins him. They follow their own heart. They do not follow his word. They follow their heart. What was the line from verse 8? One speaketh peaceably to his neighbor with his mouth, but in heart he layeth in wait. God does know your heart. He knows how treacherous and evil it can be. When you are saved in Christ, when God saves you, he gives you a new heart. He writes his law on your heart so that your heart will not want to be deceitful anymore. You will want to walk in a better way, in a better path. You may fall and you may stumble, but your heart will still be righteous. You will not follow after evil. You will not want to follow after evil ways. Walked after the imagination of their own heart, and after Baalim, B-A-A-L, Baal. We've talked about Baal hundreds of times. Baal, Baalim, Baal, I can't remember the one. It also talks about Beelzebub, which is Baalzebub. It's just a different spelling of it. There's another name though that they were talking about. I can't remember what it was. But that's the Baal. That's the Baal Insiaga that we talked about. That's the same one. It's always been there. It's been there for years and years and years. It's interesting that the whole thing with the clothing company, that they're going out of their way to say, oh, we didn't know, we didn't we don't know what this was. We're not. What was the one I read? Was somebody was saying that they're not responsible for what the photographer, for what the artist was doing with their ad, and it's like, no, you are responsible because you put your name on it. It doesn't matter who took the pictures. It doesn't matter what they wanted to do with it. You're responsible. Somebody else also said too, the photographer wasn't responsible. It's the company. All the photographer does is push the button. It's one of those types of things. And it's like, yeah, exactly. They're the ones that did it. They wanted everything in there exactly the way it was. It's not the guy that holds the camera. It's the guy that tells the guy with the camera what to do. So yes, it was totally up to them. But they're all like, no, we didn't know any better. Yes, you did. I gotta go back to the same one though, verse 14. But have walked after the imagination of their own heart, which we talked about, and after Balaam, which we talk about, which their fathers taught them. Remember, the Gentiles shall come back to God, saying, surely we have inherited the lies of our fathers. It's like within one verse, I could pull like 3 different things, because that's what it is. It's the imagination of your own hearts. You should not follow your hearts. And after Balaam, it's Baal, which we have talked about, and which their fathers have taught them, which, again, we have inherited the lies of our fathers. Our fathers didn't know any better. Their fathers didn't know any better. You can't really blame too many people. Somewhere along the line, they got tricked, just like everybody else, because we live in a world of deceit. Thine habitation is in the midst of deceit. We grew up in it. You cannot really blame too many people. We grew up in it. Our parents grew up in it. Our grandparents grew up in it. Our great-grandparents grew up in it. Before that, it gets a little muddy. It gets a little muddy. I can't really tell exactly when it changed. But, again, somewhere around the middle to late 18th century, or 19th century. The 1800s. Somewhere within the middle 1800s, something changed. I don't know why, but therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts, this is verse 15, therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, behold, I will feed them, even this people with wormwood, and give them water of gall to drink. I gotta know what this wormwood stuff is, because some people have been talking about this. A bitterness. A bitter root. From an unused root supposed to mean a curse. Poisonous. A poisonous root. Well, that would make sense. Poisonous food. Wormwood. That makes sense now, what all these other people are talking about wormwood. Okay, I got you. GMOs. All that fun stuff, 16, I will scatter them also among the heathen, whom neither they nor their fathers have known, and I will send a sword after them till I have consumed them. I will scatter them among the heathen, whom neither they nor their fathers have known. Yet again, we have this understanding in the Bible that all of the people of the world were mixed together. If you really believe your history, if you believe what they tell you, it was like everybody was all nice and separated until about 1400s, 1500s. Everybody of a certain color was in one place, everybody was of a certain color was in another place, and everybody in a certain color was in another place. It seems like the modern idea, or the idea, I shouldn't say modern, the idea of there being a lot of mixed races, a lot of people from one country being in another country, it's not something that was there a long time ago. I mean, you would hear about the scatterings here and there, but if you believe your own history, the concept of everybody being mixed around is only about 500, 600 years old. Before then, everybody just kind of kept to themselves. They were all separated for a long time. And then suddenly, out of the blue, it's like, oh, hey, we're going to mix everybody together. And that, it only adds credence to the missing time period stuff. And I've kind of brushed over this a couple times. The missing 1,000 years, this possible great land of Tartaria, all this other kind of stuff. We don't know for certain. I don't know for certain. I'm not going to even try to say anything is real or not. But if everybody was together for the Tower of Babel, And they were all together making this one world order, making this big, huge tower so that they could go up and kill God. And then they were separated into their places where they could not mix. They could not intermingle, they could not mix. How long would that go before people started mixing again? Just a curiosity. I mean, it seems like it only took us about 400, 600 years, if you believe your own history, for it all to happen. So we're talking about something that happened 3,000 years ago. Is that about right? 4,000 years? Is it about 4,000 years ago? Is about right? Because from Adam to Noah was about 1,500, 2,000, give or take. Give or take. I don't know the exact amount. But then from as soon as Noah stepped off, almost as soon as Noah stepped off the boat, they were starting to make Tower Babel. And then from there to Christ was another 1,500 to 2,000 years. And when Christ came onto the picture, then we're talking about Romans and Egyptians and all these other people, but they weren't. Were they mixing back then? And then you got to think, if they were mixing back then, how did they get separated again? Because, again, according to your history, everybody was kind of separated until the 1600s when they started mixing again. So what, when you logically, rationally sit down and think about it and understand it the way that they want to tell you how it is, it doesn't make that much sense. It's like you could have very easily have gone down and taken over the entire continent of Africa, and yet you didn't. You just left it alone. You could have very easily have gone east to Asia, but you didn't. You just kind of left it alone. You could have very easily have gone over the ocean, which you had vessels that could sail that far. The Egyptians had vessels that could sail that far to the Americas, but you didn't. You left them alone. And supposedly the Native Americans were able to live and thrive for thousands of years unmolested. The Chinese, the Japanese, the Mongolians were able to live and thrive for thousands of years unmolested. Africans were able to live and thrive for thousands of years unmolested, and nobody bothered them. Nobody even cared. And yet these great, massive empires of Europe just decided, hey, we're only going to take so much space, and that's it. Your history doesn't make sense. History doesn't make sense. So, when the Bible talks about scattering them also among the heathen, whom neither they have known, neither they nor their fathers have known. Man, who are we talking about here? It's so many different people that we could be talking about, so many different time frames. It hurts the mind. There's a lot of people that will say, well, no, that just refers to X happening here, X happening there. Again, that's the history that you're given. Your Bible gives you a history, but then the world gives you another history. So which one is it? It just makes you think. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to dispute anything. I'm not trying to cut anything down. I'm trying to get your mind working. I think that's the biggest part of all this, is once you get your mind working on it, start understanding that, we have been lied to, then you can start hearing some truths. Just one of those things. Just one of those things. Every time I hear it, I'm like, okay, scattered them among the heathen, who they nor their fathers knew. So who are we talking about? Who exactly are we talking about? Where did they start from? Where did they go to? Where are they now? Some people say it doesn't matter. And I get that. And, to a point it doesn't matter. Because, we're all God's children now. We're all scattered at this point. We're all, too far away from each other to make anything worth a damn work, Because we are drowning in lies. We are in the habitation of lies, and everyone has his brother and his neighbor that is lying to him and going after their own hearts and doing their own thing. That's a problem. But just trying to figure it out, it's like, what happened here? Just, I want the truth. That's all I want. I just want the truth. I want something that makes sense. Because nothing that I've been told anymore makes sense. And I will send sword after them until I have consumed them. Alright. Verse 17. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider ye, call for the mourning women, that they may come, and send for cunning women, that they may come, and let them make haste, and take up a wailing for us, that our eyes may run down with tears, and our eyelids gush out with waters. For a voice of wailing is heard out of Zion. How are we spoiled? We are greatly confounded, because we have forsaken the land, because our dwellings have cast us out. Yet hear the word of the Lord, O ye women, and let your ear receive the word of his mouth, and teach your daughters wailing, and every one her neighbor lamentation. For death is come up into our windows, and has entered into our palaces, to cut off the children from without, and the young men from the streets. Speak, thus saith the Lord. Even the carcasses of men shall fall as dung upon the open field, and as the handful after the harvestmen, and none shall gather them. Alright, there's a lot of interesting stuff in that one. So back up to 17. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider ye, and call for the mourning women, that they may come, and send for cunning women, that they may come. And there's some interesting things here, and I'll go into it in a second. Let them make haste, and take up a wailing for us, that our eyes may run down with tears, and our eyelids gush out with waters. For a voice of wailing is heard out of Zion. How are we spoiled? We are greatly confounded, because we have forsaken the land, because our dwellings have cast us out. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with this, but it calls for the mourning women, the women that are in mourning. There is a pagan ritual that happens for Tammuz, one of the old gods. I think it was the I gotta look it up. That's how bad it is. The wailing for Tammuz, the weeping for Tammuz, the mourning of Tammuz. And they were weeping over him. He was a fertility god, as mentioned in the book of Ezekiel. So it's coming up. We're going to be talking about that. That's funny though. Again, we're already talking about stuff that's going to be happening in a book that's coming. But they would, some people have said that they will weep for Tammuz for 40 days and 40 nights, which sounds very similar to other things that happen. Other ones have said that it is a 2-week thing. Some people say that it will last for a full 9 months. I've heard many, many different stories of what it is. But every time I hear about the mourning women, the MOUR, mourning women, or the weeping and wailing, that it always puts it in my head for the weeping of Tammuz. That's just another one of those lies of the world that you just kind of, when you hear the Bible call it out, you got to put it into context of, what exactly does that mean? Who are they talking about? What's going on there? That's all that is. It's just saying, there's more to it than you could possibly know. But this may not mean the women that weep for Tammuz. This may just mean, the women that are weeping because all their men are getting cut down in the streets and are hurting. What are we on? 20? Is that where we are? Yet hear the word of the Lord, O ye women, and let your ear receive the word of his mouth, and teach your daughters wailing, and every one her neighbor lamentation. For death is come up into our windows, and is entered into our places, to cut off the children from without, and the young men from the streets. That's self-explanatory. Thus saith the Lord, even the carcasses of men shall fall as dung upon the open field, and as the handful after the harvestman, and none shall gather them. Which sounds exactly like, chapter 8? Where it was talking about they were bringing out the bones of the dead. They were bringing out the bones for death worship. And they were scattering them, but they are just, to God, they're just dung upon the face of the earth. It's just garbage. Just nothing to, you just leave it alone. Unless you have, unless you have to clean it up out of the yard, you have to bring the pooper scooper around. Yes, we have dogs. But that's what it is. The carcasses of the men shall fall as dung upon the fields. There will be great death and destruction that comes from this. He's telling all the women, you want to start weeping for something? Start weeping for that. Verse 23, Thus saith the Lord, Let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might. Let not the rich man glory in his riches, but let him that glorieth glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me, that I am the Lord, which exercise loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, saith the Lord. That's some pretty self-explanatory stuff, but we are going to go through it again. Thus saith the Lord, Let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, for they are foolish in their wisdom that call themselves wise, which we are seeing more and more of, especially people in positions of power, which are constantly saying, well, we know the science, so we know better than you. Neither let the mighty man glory in his might, which we are seeing more and more of. We are hearing a bunch of politicians say, well, we're in charge, so you should probably listen to us. Let not the rich man glory in his riches, which again, we have with these billionaires that are saying, hey, look, I'm a billionaire. I'm going to go spend X amount of money to take a rocket up into space or shoot a car into space. I'm going to buy Twitter. That's exactly what that is. That is exactly what that is. They are reveling. The wise man in their wisdom, the mighty man in his might, the rich man in his riches. But let him that glorieth glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me, that I am the Lord which exercise loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, saith the Lord. Verse 25. I don't have to go through that. That's self-explanatory. Verse 25, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will punish all them which are circumcised with the uncircumcised. Egypt and Judah and Edom, and the children of Ammon, and Moab, and all that are in the utmost corners that dwell in the wilderness. For all these nations are uncircumcised, and all the house of Israel are uncircumcised in the heart. This is uncircumcised in the heart. This is not a physical circumcision. It is amazing. Everybody wants to hear circumcision. They're like, oh no, if you don't have your penis clipped, you can't. No, come on. To cut off of destruction. Let me see. They are uncircumcised in their heart, which means their heart is covered. Their heart is covered up. It is not open. Remember, we talk about everything comes from the heart. At the very end of this, it says, and all the house of Israel are uncircumcised. These are all people that are uncircumcised in the heart. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will punish all them which are circumcised with the uncircumcised. Which means all of those that worship God, that have followed his rules, that have let themselves fall in with the people that are covered up, the uncircumcised. Those that believe that are with those that follow the pagan gods. Egypt and Judah and Edom and the children of Ammon and Moab and all that are in the utmost corners that dwell in the wilderness. Something similar to that. I'm not going to go dig through it, but it was something similar to that where it said all those that are scattered to the four corners or whatever it was. He said, that are all mixed. Some of them that are actually mixed together in order to hide, from what they came from, because they would rather believe the lie than hear the truth and the whole thing. But all those that are scattered, for all these nations are uncircumcised. All these nations are covered up. They're the ones that don't want to listen to me. They're the ones that don't want to have anything to do with me. And all the house of Israel are uncircumcised in the hearts. They heard the word. They followed the word. They listened to the word, but they scattered themselves out into the nations that are what's the word I'm looking for? Unlawful. There you go. They chose not to follow God. And because the people of Israel chose to be unlawful in their hearts and intermingle with all these people, that he will punish them. He will punish all them which are circumcised with the uncircumcised. All those that chose to listen but hid themselves with those people that didn't want to listen, he will punish them all. That's what that says. Some people get so wrapped up on the physical language of this. Even if you wanted to take it literally, okay, fine, literally, the law of man was still in effect at this point in time. So we're talking about people that were literally following the law, spread with people that were literally not following the law. That there were people that were literally not following the law mixed in with people that were literally not following the law in their heart. If that does that make sense? Is that even? I don't even know. But that's what it was. It's because they won't even uncircumcise their heart. They won't open their heart up. They won't open their heart up to the truth. They would rather mix themselves together. And that's the problem you got now. So many people just want to go along and get along. Come out of it. Alright, I'm going to stop there. Where are we at? I haven't even looked. Hour 15. Alright. Tomorrow. Hey. You know, it's interesting that it goes through and it says, I will punish all these people for doing all this stuff, for being lawless, for being in the middle of everybody. You're coming out of a chapter where it just talked about, worshiping death. The same way that they kind of worship Halloween and Samhain and the Day of the Dead, all those things. We're coming out of that. And then you have this whole thing where it talks about, well, I'm going to do all this stuff to these people, all these people that, wanted to mix themselves together with all these other people. Don't trust your neighbor. Don't listen to what they say. Don't do this. Don't do that. And then it goes right into just blasting Christmas. It's just like, I'm telling you, man, these 3 books in your Bible, they're awesome. They're just absolutely incredible. You read through them, and you're just like, holy smokes. Tomorrow. And there will be a disclaimer. I will say it. I will say it, You don't have to listen to me. You can do whatever you want. But, Bible's a glorious thing, man. When you really read it, really get down to it, and you see the truth of the world, and you come out of it. When you come out of it, you don't even miss it. I don't even miss it. I despise it. Ugh. It's terrible. Why would you go through all that trouble just to spend all this money just to make people happy? Why would you lie to your kids? Why do you lie to your kids? Who does that? I'm just as guilty. I'm just as guilty. I was right there with it too. I didn't understand it. But now I do. And it was there forever. So, I can't really blame myself. I didn't know. I was ignorant. Now that I know, I'm like, holy crap. It was there this whole time. And we just thought it was, a thing. Because we were raised in the system. It's not an excuse anymore. You either come out of the system or you're going to be consumed by it. Or consumed with it. Come out of it. I'm not saying that you have to give it up cold turkey, and I'm not saying that you have to, you can do whatever you want. But God, He wants you to come out of it. He wants you to know the truth. He wants you to come out of it. He doesn't want you to have anything to do with it. That's all I got. So I shall talk to you all later. God bless you all. Take care of yourselves. I will see you tomorrow. Take it easy, guys.